Hey everybody, welcome to Harmon Garage. I'm Aaron, and it is a beautiful, humid, sweat yourself to death day here in sunny Alabama, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. Before I get into the project for this video, I want to go ahead and thank everybody that made it out to the, not made it out, but tuned in to the live feed that I did with Chad from Squarebody Stuff. It was really cool sitting there and talking with them and answering your guys' questions and interacting with everybody. I had a lot of fun. I got a lot of good feedback from it, and I got a lot of you guys that were upset that you missed it or didn't find out about it till afterwards or whatever. So because of that, I'm not gonna start doing a weekly live feed or anything like that. I don't think I could handle that, honestly. But I am thinking about doing one live feed and give enough notice of when it's going to be and kind of work it the best I can for it to be at a good time for everybody to join in, and doing a live feed and maybe getting somebody, you know, another YouTuber or somebody in the industry or something to be a co-host or a guest on the live feed. So do me a favor, if you're interested in me doing a live feed, man, there is wasp and hornets and crap all over here today. Sorry, squirrel. If you're interested in me doing a live feed, please go down to the comments and tell me, yes, please do a live feed. Also, if you have a specific YouTuber or person in the automotive industry that you'd like me to try to get to be a guest or you know, be on the dang thing with me, you know what I'm trying to say, leave that in the comments. And what day of the week and what time of day would be best for you to get on if you want to. It's definitely going to be in the evening, Central Standard Time, probably after 6:30 Central Standard Time. But you guys tell me what day would be best for you, and I'll gather up all the information that I can on it, try to do it when it fits everybody the best, and try to get together with somebody else to be a co-host or a guest, and we'll make it all work. And yeah, so it's basically what I'm trying to say. Thank you for everybody that tuned in to the one that I was a guest on. If you want me to do one, let me know, and yada 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 what I just said. So with that being said, one more quick update. I expanded my rainwater storage. I got another tote, still needs to be painted, but it's been raining since I put it up there. Got it all plumbed together so that I can only fill from that tank, and it fills this one. Right now they are, I got a little leak I gotta fix, but everything's been too wet to fix it. So I have to keep the valves closed, and when the one tank gets full, I can open both valves and they equalize. So right now they're equalized, and I've got about 420 gallons of water. So that should last me for a little bit of pressure washing, and I should be able to flush a toilet for like 6 years. So we're good with that. Not that you guys care, but I'm excited about it. I think it's pretty cool, and I don't have a water bill. So with all that done and over with, being said, all that yada yada yada, I'm still talking. We have RJ. RJ is going to be the topic of this video, and let me tell you why. So I don't know exact dates, but I know it's been over a month since I slapped this thing together to take it to the car show here in town. And ever since I got it together, I've been daily driving it, but I never finished it. Like, I got it to run and drive to go a mile and a half away to the car show here in town, and that was it. That was all I had time for. Well, it has no power brakes, no power steering. I mean, it's got the stuff for Hydro Boost, but I don't have any brackets or anything to make it work. And being that it's just a C10 half-ton basic truck, it doesn't need I'm gonna get a lot of arguments about this, and I'm more than happy to argue with you if you want to leave a comment, but I prefer vacuum brakes over Hydro Boost. Yes, Hydro Boosts are fantastic brakes, they are great, but you get one pinhole anywhere in your power steering system and you lose your steering and your brakes. Vacuum, as long as your motor's making some kind of vacuum, you're good to go. So the reason I feel that way is because I drove an 85 crew cab dually from Yuma, Arizona to Justin, Texas, which is right outside of Fort Worth, with a leaky reservoir on a power steering pump with Hydro Boost, and it was miserable. I'd fill it up every time I stopped, and I'd get about 2 to 3 braking applications before I lost brakes again. Either way, I'm a square body guy. I've got the stuff sitting in here on the shelf. It's gonna get a brake booster, new master cylinder. Actually, if I don't have to change the master cylinder, I'm not going to, because I don't want to rebleed the brakes. But if this master cylinder won't work with the brake booster, obviously I'll have to change to the other master cylinder that I have. I've done this before, but I don't remember if I had to change the master cylinder or not. We'll find out real quick. And then I have a standard power steering pump. I have new brackets to mount the steering pump somewhere around this pile of stuff right over there. I have a fan shroud. We can get that on. So brakes, steering, fan shroud. And then once we get all that done, we're gonna start doing some paintless dent repair. Again, over here on this fender, there's still some more stuff back there in the back to fix, and we're just gonna clean some stuff up. And if I still feel there's time in this video, we might find some other stuff to do, but we're just basically finishing RJ here. So strap in, grab a drink, here we go. All right, first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and get all this old stuff that I don't need anymore out of here. And to do that, I gotta go ahead and bust these lines off the Hydro Boost here. Maybe. There we go. That one out of the way. I never noticed this before, but I don't know if somebody did this aftermarket or if this is just way different than I'm used to, and I'll bring you guys over here in a minute and show you. But usually the brake lines kind of come straight down and then they angle over here and go down to the proportioning valve. These are curled up and run all the way back here through a clip here on the firewall, and then they run down underneath the control arm, underneath the frame, and then come up the frame rail and go into the proportioning valve. I can't say I've ever seen them like that before. Huh. I don't know. Maybe it's a Hydro Boost thing and I just never paid that close of attention. I got another Hydro Boost truck sitting over there I haven't introduced to the channel yet. I guess I could go take a look at it and see, but yeah. While we're in here, don't let me forget I need to hook up that kickdown cable too, because I haven't done that yet either. And it sucks when it don't kick down when you want it to. Alright, that one's disconnected. Go ahead and Unhook our 2 pressure lines. Then we got 2 returns we got to unhook. One up here, one down there on the box. And then we should be able to lift all this crap out of here, and I'll stick all this Hydro Boost pump and reservoir and everything on the shelf over there, because me or somebody else is going to need it one of these days. Apparently this dump truck thinks it's okay to pull in my lot here, which it's not, but in the middle of something I'll yell at them some other day. Or maybe I won't, because he ain't leaving. Alright, well, you guys missed out on a heck of an ordeal there. That guy decided that he wanted to park here and use my property as a bathroom, and then he didn't like it when I told him that wasn't allowed here. So either way, got that all taken care of, and forgot to turn the camera back on when I came back over here. But I got the power steering pump and all the lines out. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my master cylinder off of the Hydro Boost. Alright, should be able to pull this off and just kind of gently set it somewhere where it won't kink or break the lines. Alright, that should be good there. Shouldn't hurt anything. And I'm going to grab the other camera. I'll go under the dash, show you what we got to do under there, and then we can pull that Hydro Boost off of here. Alright, trying to make sure you guys can see all this, but what I got to do now is up here under the dash, you got this rod coming through right here, and it hooks on to the brake pedal right here. So a little bracket you got to take off, it comes off, and then that arm can slide off, and I can disconnect that shaft that comes from the Hydro Boost, which looks like it's been leaking because it's wet. So it's kind of good we're changing it out anyways. But yeah, we'll get this unhooked and then we can pull the Hydro Boost out from out there, which I'll take you out there and show you. So I got 2 bolts here, 2 bolts down here, and 2 studs that go to the inside with nuts on the inside I got to take off, and that whole Hydro Boost will come off. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled out of there, and then we'll be ready to start going back together with the other stuff. Alright, now I could have painted this. Granted, I'm going to take this off and put this back on. It was just already bolted on there, and it'll be easier to break these bolts loose and take it off with it mounted. And I could have cleaned up and painted this booster, but the rest of the truck, other than the motor being all clean and everything, kind of has the Survivor look to it. So, and I don't want, I mean, this, in my opinion, this truck is a show truck in its own right the way it is. I don't plan on, you know, replacing everything that's got a speck of rust on it and perfectly body working every dent and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna keep the life that it's had and show it. So we're got my booster back in there. I'll go ahead and tighten these nuts down that hold it on. I'll take the master cylinder off, stick this one back in there, and hopefully everything will go together right and work. So we'll see. Little tech tip, I'm not going to keep you guys sitting here watching while I do all this crap. Little tech tip, once you get that hung and secured to where it can't go nowhere, before you go ahead and tighten it all the way in there, go inside under the dash and get your rod at least set in place to make sure that it's not wedged on the wrong side of the pedal or something, and once you got it all bolted up, you're not going to be able to get it out and move it. So we're going to go under the dash and get our rod hooked back up real quick, and then I'll go ahead and tighten this down. I'll get our master cylinder switched over, preferably quickly because this is leaking brake fluid now. I'll get the master cylinder switched over, and we'll be all good to go. Okay. Vacuum booster is all installed. Everything's hooked up out here. Everything's hooked up in there. Only thing I have left to do is run my vacuum hose over to the intake or the back of the carburetor, whichever one ends up working out. So next thing we're going to do is install a power steering pump. I had a power steering pump out of another truck that I'm assuming works and doesn't leak too bad. We're going to throw it in, but I only had the pump side of the brackets. I didn't have the engine side of the brackets, if that makes any sense. Like, they're over there. I had the brackets that bolted onto this pump, but I didn't have the brackets that bolt onto the motor that go to those brackets, yada yada yada. So I bought this. Comes with instructions. I got to put all these brackets on the pump, get the pulley back on the pump, and then get the pump mounted in the truck, get the hoses hooked up to the pump and the box, and then we should have power steering. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and follow these instructions, put these brackets on, put my pulley back on, get this mounted in the truck. I'll catch up with you guys and show you where we're at. All right, I finally got the power steering installed, and we're definitely gonna go over that in a minute, but I just wanted to show you guys this. It's been like 80 some degrees and sunny all day. And now we got this. Looking pretty dang gnarly. So just give you guys a warning, you might hear some tornado sirens in this video before it's over. Hey, we might even see a tornado because I'm your local storm chaser. If that sucker comes close enough I can film it, you're definitely gonna get to see it. So anyways, back to your regularly scheduled programming. All right, well, I got the power steering pump in, got a belt on it, got the lines hooked up, got everything tight, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a higher power that thinks I don't have enough arm strength and I don't need power steering, or somebody's got it out for me or what, but every aftermarket power steering mounting system that I get comes out of the box, makes some sort of Bruce Lee kung fu move and says round one, fight, and that's how it goes. I've probably been dinking around with this thing for like 2 hours for 3 pieces of metal and 5 bolts. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So I usually end up remaking something. I don't know if it's design flaw. I don't know if I'm just stupid. That's probably what it is. But yeah, so anyways, we got it all installed. I'll show you guys what it's looking like. See that down there? We got our brackets in, everything's straight, we got our belt on it. It's all good to go. So now I'm going to fill it up with fluid and then we will bleed it out. Well, it just keeps fighting and fighting and fighting. All over some dang power steering. So, I showed you guys I got it all on there. I was ready to put fluid in it and bleed it, and I put fluid in it and bam! Started dripping steadily out of the hole in the reservoir that I didn't know was there. Reservoir's leaking where the return pipe goes to it. So what do? Now I get to pull it all the way back out again. Got a new reservoir for it because there's no point in buying a whole pump and everything when it doesn't need it. So I got to pull it all back out, put the pump in the reservoir. I didn't necessarily want or need a chrome one. And it's probably no good anymore either. But that's the only way I could get just a reservoir quickly. And it was less than half the price of a pump with a reservoir on it. So I'm gonna get that out again and get going and get that swapped over. And then we'll try to get that power steering pump back in and see if we can finally get some power steering in this truck. Victory is mine. Son of a gun. I've got like 2 days wrapped up in a dang power steering pump on a square body that I've done at least 150 times. So it's ridiculous. But I put the chrome reservoir that I bought on, put everything back together, got it in the truck, filled it up with fluid, the pump started leaking. So I guess path of least resistance, the pump wasn't leaking, you know. The snout on the pump wasn't leaking when the reservoir was leaking because it was just dripping straight out the reservoir, and that was easier. Or I just couldn't see that it was coming from two places. But so I filled that up and then the pump started leaking, and it's a $4 difference to buy just a pump or buy the pump with the reservoir. So guess what we did? New pump, new reservoir, all put together, full of fluid. It's all sitting there. Now, I'm gonna show you guys the proper way to bleed a power steering system. Super easy. You do not start it up. You do not crank the wheel back and forth real fast while it's sitting on the ground. So hang tight, I'm gonna show you the right way to do it. Okay. So I showed you I've got the fluid reservoir full. That's kind of a mistake on my part. I overfilled it. But there should be enough air in the lines that it should go down. If you like go to switch out your pump and it's still full and you take your lines off and you know put them right back on without letting them drain out and all that and hook it back up and go to bleed it, it shouldn't take much. You're not going to want it to be over full like I got it. Now these, I left the lines unhooked, let them drain out. These are new lines, yada yada yada. So I'm sure there's enough air in it to eat up the extra fluid I put in. But first thing I'm going to do is get the floor jack over here, put it underneath the front of the truck. I'm going to jack it up until both front tires are off the ground. They don't have to be off very far, just enough that they're not touching and you got the weight off of them. And then I'm just going to get in and I'm going to very slowly turn the wheel all the way to the right. Wait a second, go all the way to to the left really slow, wait a second. Heck, if you like left better than right, go to the left first and then go to the right. It doesn't matter which way you go. You just want to go back and forth real slow. Go back and forth about 5 times. Get out, check your fluid, make sure it's still topped off. You don't want the fluid to be below the pump or you're sucking air. So I'm gonna get this thing jacked up and we'll start bleeding around. Okay, got all the weight off the front tires. Just go in there and turn it back and forth. The reason you want to go nice and slow when you do this, because part of it is so that you make sure you're moving the fluid slow and you're pushing the air, all the air. Secondly, you don't want to push the air too fast and have it pop a big bubble out of your reservoir and spray fluid all over your motor. Two times, starting our third time. And here the bubbles coming up. I'll turn it all the way to the right. That was only 3 cycles, but I could hear the bubbles. So I just want to come out here and check it. And I'm glad I did. My fluid level is down below my pump, so I want to add a little bit. Okay, so I didn't overfill it like I did last time. I put it where it should be. And when you're going back and forth with it, it's going to be lower in the reservoir when you go one way than it is when you go the other way. I don't know why. There's a reason for it, but I don't know why. Anyways, I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch. This could take 10 minutes. It could take 2 hours. So what you want to do is just keep cycling it like I've been doing, and every couple cycles you want to check your fluid, make sure it stays full. When you get to a point where you can do 5 complete cycles and the fluid level hasn't changed, and remind you, you want to check the fluid level in the same position every time. But when you get it to where you do 5 complete cycles and the fluid level hasn't changed, then you want to check for bubbles. If you see bubbles in the fluid, you got to do it some more. Check it, you see bubbles in the fluid, do it some more. You want to do it, and I'm not talking like big old bubbles, I'm talking any bubbles. You don't necessarily have to do it. I mean, I've seen other people do it, and heck, I've done it, where you just fire it up and pour fluid in until it's full. Okay, you can do that, but this is the proper way, so that you've got your longest life expectancy out of your pump and everything else. So. My fluid's staying full. Not seeing any bubbles in it, so we're gonna go ahead and fire it up and see if we got power steering. Make sure it's not leaking under pressure. Yada, yada, yada. Oh yeah, there we go. What a wonderful world. Check it while it's running real quick, make sure it's not leaking. And then we can shut it off, make sure it's topped off, and we'll be good to go. Well, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but something's leaking. Appears to be water. I'll have to move it around a little bit and check for sure, because there's a lot of stuff sitting in that cross member from when all the water leaked out of that bolt hole and all the power steering leaks and all that stuff. I don't see any power steering leaks at all. If anything, it's water from them bolts, and worst case I got to pull them back out and seal them. But I put thread sealant on both of them already, so it should be okay. I think it's probably just shaking water. I think it's probably just shaking water out of the frame, because that's where it's coming from. So I think we're probably good. So I'm gonna top off the fluids, and it's getting late again. So I'll top the fluids off, probably take this thing home tonight just to enjoy the power brakes and power steering. Then we'll come back in the morning, and there's a couple more things I want to finish up and finish those up. So yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, well, I drove old RJ home last night. Power steering and power brakes are working phenomenally, which is really nice, because I've been driving this thing around for all of a month with neither nor, and it's a workout. So got that fixed, that's good. I've got a fan shroud over there leaning against that door that I want to get in, because this thing hasn't gotten hot at all, but I still just want to have a fan shroud in it just in case we're getting to the hottest part of the year now. So I want to try to get that in, if that's even the right one, and if everything lines up, because I know that's not the right fan for this model, and yada yada yada. We'll see if we can get one in there, is what I'm trying to say. But right now I want to take another stab at this. It really bugs the heck out of me that this is beat up here. I want to try to roll this door back out, and like I said, I'm not going to use filler and paint it or any of that crap, but I'd like to get this bad crease out, maybe tap this down a little bit, maybe get this back straight to where I can get a fender trim piece on there properly. And yeah, so the stud gun wasn't doing it. The grease is too hard. It just ain't got enough to pull it. So my next battle is, those are still kind of warm. Shave the edge down on a couple washers. I'm gonna go ahead and tack weld those on to spots that I've already got ground down here. Then I've got a bigger slide hammer that I'm gonna put in them and try to do some more pulling. So I'll get those, I got my welder set up over here. I'll go ahead and get those tack welded on and see what happens. don't know if I want to keep trying to pull on this or if I want to take the fender off and try to beat it from the inside, but it's twisted up pretty good. It's been that way for a long time. I don't want to quit, but I guess we'll just see. I don't think I can take the fender off. I probably can take the fender off by myself, but I gotta take the hood off. Give me a minute to cool off and think about it, and I'll decide what I'm gonna do, and we'll go from there. Well, if you put your glasses on and squint a little bit, you probably tell what my decision was. So we went ahead and pulled the fender off, got down in there, and there's no opening down there. But I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and, I can't ruin this fender. I mean, look at it, it's already ruined. I'm just trying to make it better, so I can't hurt it. So I think what I'm gonna do is on the inside in there, I'm gonna take my diagram, my cutoff wheel, and I'm gonna cut the inner bracing out. Just down there in the back where it needs to be straightened out. I think I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna go ahead and tap that all back in place the best that I can, and then I'll tack weld that bracing back in, and you'll never see it because it's down in the cowl and all that where you can't see it. So I'm gonna trim that out and then do some paintless dent repair is what I'm calling it. And yeah, we'll do that and that and that and that and that and that too, yeah. And see how it goes. All right. I'll go ahead and take the old cutoff wheel here. And not hurting a whole lot doing this because this is full of leaves and grass and crap that I need to get cleaned out so it don't rot all this out anyways. But it's got like these little hoops in here where the mounting tabs for the inner fender go. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure to stay on the inside of those. And then it's got, I know from experience cutting up fenders, it's got bracing all in this part for where it bolts on down here, so I'm going to stay above that. And then over here I'm just going to cut it. So here we go. All right, got that trimmed out. Hey, look, now I can see the back of all the crap. So, yeah. Now what? This whole structure, this whole fender is trash. I really don't want to get rid of it because I don't want to paint this truck. I don't want it. I've been looking for a new white fender and a white hood, and I haven't really found anything that's going to work for me. So I just want to get this back straight so it's straight. I might weld up the holes I put in it and just let it kind of surface rust, but I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and get all these leaves and crap cleaned out of here and kind of decide what my next step's going to be. And when I figure out what the heck I'm doing, I'll let you guys know. Alright, I got it all set up. And I got a 6x6 or something underneath it. And what I want to do is, there's just this big old crease along here, so I want to try to go in there and relieve that crease the best that I can without causing any more creasing. So I got this big punch, it's a regular hammer. I'm going to go and tap along that crease, tap along that crease, tap along that crease from top to bottom onto that 6x6 and just see what happens and kind of go from there. I think I need a heavier hammer. That's not even barely touching this thing, so we'll see what happens. I'll get a bigger hammer and hit it a little harder, see if anything moves. Alright, I got a couple different options here. I got the you might move, you'll probably move, and you got no choice but to move. So we'll see how she goes. Okay, well, I banged on it, beat on it, twisted it, pried it, chiseled it, wedged it, all the above and more, and not going to say it's the exact shape that it's supposed to be, but better than it was, I guess. Other than I can't get the nut on here now. But that's on there. It ain't coming out. Next thing I want to do, I want to take this piece of trim off this door, because I tried before the car show to put some more double-sided sticky tape on the back side of it to make it stick, and it didn't work. So we're gonna get all the sticky off of this door, get all the sticky off of this trim panel, and then put some more sticky on, clean it real good, and see if we can get it to stick, hopefully. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to just clean all this adhesive off, clean the door, clean that real good. We'll put it back on, see what happens. Got all the old adhesive scratched off. Took some glass cleaner and cleaned it really good. Got all the adhesive taken off of this. Cleaned it with glass cleaner as well. Now I just got to get all this backing off of this double-sided tape. Alright. Got my stud that goes through the back. It's got a nut on the inside. Got a screw that goes to the front. So I'll get that all lined up. I'm going to work my way down here. Make sure I got everything stuck good before I put any screws or bolts or anything back in. It's hanging there by itself now, so I know it's good. Stick that screw back in. Got a little nut on the back here. Screw that back on. It's way, way better. That piece of trim's been hanging off since we got this truck in like 2017. Like I said, I tried sticking it before, but I just stuck it over what was already there, and it didn't work. So now we did it right, like I should have the first time, and it should be good to go. I keep looking at this fender over here. It doesn't have the right shape. It's kind of pissing me off, but I don't know. Maybe if I just don't look at it, it'll be okay. So, all right, next thing, fan shroud. I'll get some stuff together and throw that in real quick. Okay, well, it's been one thing after another with this truck, and this fan shroud that I have is for the smaller short radiator, and I have the bigger tall radiator. So, not gonna be able to put this fan shroud on. I don't have any other fan shrouds. I'm still gonna need to find one, but no big deal. Yeah, so I kind of beat up on a fender a little bit, and at least it's not all creased and everything anymore, but now it looks like it's got a swollen cheek or something. I don't know, kind of off. And we got power steering, power brakes. That's a big plus. Got some trim fixed. Just a couple little things here and there. I mean, it's just, when I get some free time, I like to do some little stuff that I can. I don't really want to replace the fender on the truck because that one's the one original off the truck and it matches perfect. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get one that'll match perfect, but I don't know, I might. If I come across a white fender that already has the trim on it that looks good, I might just go ahead and trade it out. I don't know, but in the meantime, I got a fender that's not all creased to crap anymore and whatever. And there really wasn't any point to this video. I started it last week because I was sick. I had strep throat probably Sunday through like Thursday of last week. So I was like, oh, I'll just throw a video together, you know, Thursday and Friday morning or whatever. We'll do some power steering and some power brakes and a couple other little things. We'll just knock a video together to get something out. And then the power steering gave me fits, and we went through that fit, and it rolled over into Monday and took all day Monday, and I finally got it done yesterday afternoon. Today's Tuesday. I got the fender-ish and a couple of other things. I'm gonna bolt that fan back on, and then I'm about ready to call it a day. But like I said, this video, I mean, there wasn't really no point to it. I was waiting on parts for Cherry Pie. I was waiting on parts for the gray OBS. They're both kind of done. I mean, I finally got the gas tank for Cherry Pie. I'll put the fuel pump in it, time it, take it for a drive, make sure everything's good, and it'll be good. Got the parts I need for the OBS, it can go. And then we got some other projects ready to come in. Some of them you may have already seen. Some people are excited and keep asking me about them. Some of you may have never seen them at all. But leave me a comment, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, do all that stuff. Appreciate everybody watching. Guarantee you the next video will be better and we'll get more back to normal. So y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time.